and welcome to my channel. So today I am going to be drawing the rosella you see in the top left of your screen. I'm going to be drawing him. I took that photo this morning actually of this little guy out in my backyard. So I'm going to start by I'll just use a red pen and I'm going to grab my smooth sketch pen and I'm going to start by drawing the basic outline. So I'll make my pen a little bit bigger like that. I'm going to move him over. I'm going to erase that straight away. I'm going to move his head over to the left. And I'm just going to start with the basic shapes again. Get to everything sort of where I want it. I can draw his beak like that. These guys are a parrot. We've got all kinds of birds around at the moment, which is really lovely. I'm just going to draw his markings in there. Now let's have a look. So I've got to make his head a bit taller. I will adjust and readjust. Now I draw the head first and then I draw everything against the head. All his markings will be against the shape of his, the length of his head. So 1 times his head is 1.5 times his body. So 1, mark it there. Oops. Go back to my red. So 1 times his head to his neck. 1, and then 2 times actually. So 1, 2. So I'll mark that about there. And then I look at the shape of his body and I just continue down, drawing till the bottom of his body would be about there. His back comes down like that. Maybe I've got it on a bit too steep of an angle, but I can adjust it like that. And then now his body and his tail are the same length. So I'll mark it down there. And I can see he's got his feathers are separated on his tail today, like he sort of had them splayed a little bit. So I'm just going to draw them individually like that. I'm not going to do the fence either. Like that is my pool fence, and I'm not going to draw that in. I'll just put him on a branch. I'll invent a branchy type of a thing. Change the angle of that tail a little bit like that. There we go. Okay, that's all right. I'm going to pop his wing. See that back wing there? And then it comes up over his back a little bit like that. I can erase the lines in a minute, the ones I don't want. Now, this wing comes down over his tail a little, close to his tummy there, and then back up in that shape. Okay, I'll make that wing a little fraction longer. So that's looking okay. He's around about the right sort of shape. He's got his back to us, so he's looking on a bit of a strange angle. I've got to change the angle of his head a little bit. I'm just going to erase some of these excess lines. And I've got to sort of narrow off the back of his head a little bit. So his head's a bit smoother down there. His eye is sort of above that part of his wing. I'll just draw the eyeball in. It's oval, it's round on the inside, but the outside of it's slightly oval. Like that. Just having another quick look. I've got to round off that part of his head. It's not quite as hard as I had it. I'm just looking at the shapes. Okay, and I'm not going to draw him on the fence. I'm going to draw him on a branch. So I'll just invent a branch. I'll just do a branch like that. And have it coming out that side like that. And I'll draw some other little branches as I go as well. So I'll create a little background. Now I'm going to erase some of these other lines that I don't need now. I had them as my guidelines initially. Now I'm just having a quick look. I might actually make that a bit shorter there. He looks like he's a little bit shorter there. And that's how you start to get your details where you want them and your proportions are correct. So now I'm just going back and having a look. Now I can also see that he's got ruffly feathers there, and he narrows off there more. So now I'm going to get rid of that little line. I'm just looking around the bird and picking the proportions. Now I can see he's got his leggy feathers come down there a little bit more, like that. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So far so good. I'm just going to erase some of these lines here, get rid of all these excess little bits. Righto, I'm happy with that. Happy with that, I think. Actually, I'm just looking at that picture over there. Actually, do I need a bit more of an angle? Maybe a tiny little bit more of an angle. Bit more downhill there. Just a little. That's a bit better. That makes him look a little bit softer. There we go. Okay, so I am going to start. I can zoom in on his eye. I'm going to grab a simple round brush. I'm going to get this deep sort of purpley colour, and I'm going to go around his iris, because his eyes are really deep sort of ruby colour, almost a purple. The iris is anyway, deep sort of ruby red. Now I'm going to go, have I got a black? I don't, I've got a sort of almost it's an even deeper, darker purple. Whoops. I'll do his eye, his pupil, like that. I'm going to add a little bit of red around his eye as well. They're not just one colour, one flat colour on their eyeball. And then I'm going to get this white here. It's a bluish white. I'm going to make my pen a little bit smaller. And I'm going to draw in the basic highlight just for the start. There we go. Now I'm going to add a light grey, blue grey. It's actually the background colour, so I won't do that. I'll go this sort of a grey. It's a bit stronger, a little bit stronger grey. Around the outside of the eye, like that. And then around the outside of that again is a little bit darker. So make that pen a little bit smaller. Come around there. I like to draw the eyes. The eyes are fun. So he's got oval-ish eyes, like that. And then I can see he's got lots of little dots. So I'm just going to add those little dots in. I'm actually looking out my window now, and I've got a little blue wren bouncing around outside my window, which is really lovely. I tried to get photos of him this morning and he was all blurry. I just couldn't get a clear picture of him. So I'm going to go back to that. Let's darken up around that edge a little bit. Okay. Now I'm going to do his beak. Is this light sort of blue-grey. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? What I should have done is I should go on to the next layer. Oh, I am on. Oh, no, I need to go another layer. So I'll leave his eye there, and I'm going to work on layer 2 now. I can always change his eye if I need to. I forgot to go start another layer. Once I do, I usually do the under drawing, and then I, whoops, that didn't work. I might just try that again. And drag and drop. That's better. Just to get that base of that beak in. All right. Now he's got dark around his little nose, where his nostril is. I'll just fill that in grey. I'm just going to block in colours first. Yeah, I'm not happy with that eye. That eye's going. Got to go back to layer 1. Get rid of the eye. Get rid of the eye. Not happy with it. Go back to layer 2 and I'll draw it in again. Go back to the eye. Make the pen a bit smaller. Like that. I made it a little bit big maybe. Or draw his pupil. Like that. Come around his eye again. So that's a little bit smaller maybe, just a little bit. Like that. There we go. Okay. I'm going to make that pen a bit bigger. Oops, make it a little bit bigger again. Draw in the pupil. And I'll go that deep red, beautiful deep red around the eye and make it a bit stronger this time. Not go the real dark purple, I'll go the red. They've got a lot of red. They're amazing, these birds. They're absolutely gorgeous. There's a whole family of them out the back. We've got 2 chicks, or 3 chicks and 2 adults, and this is one of the adults. Oops. And the babies have green backs because they blend into the grass when they're little, so they're not as obvious, not as unprotected. And as they turn into adults, they go to this beautiful, vibrant red. Just going to strengthen up this line around the outside of his eye now, like that. Okay. And then I'm going to add that highlight. I'll use that blue. Look at his eye. Like that. That's a little highlight on his eye. Okay. Like that. That's the basic sort of shape. It's about right. Now I'm going to block in the red around his head, and I'm going to start with this lighter red. Oops, actually I might make that pen a bit thicker because I know what's going to happen. I'm going to go to put in the drag and drop and it won't do it. So I'm just going to quickly block this in like that, and then around his eye. Go over that again in a minute anyway, and drag and drop. There we go. And I've made a mess of his eyeball, but I can fix that. Actually, I'm just going to undo that, and then go make that a bit neater. Made a bit of a mess of that, didn't I? Then drag and drop. There we go. Okay, now let's have a look at the rest of him. So I can drag and drop down here on his body, like that. Come up on his chest, like that. Whoops, drag and drop. There we go. So I just sort of fill in. I'm trying to decide. I'll do the lower part of his back. The rest I'll do. I should actually just do. Oh! That didn't work. Must have missed a bit. So I'll just go around there like that. And then drop that in. There we go. That's better. I might even, I'm just looking at this. I might even, I might even fill in that part of his back, and I'll just add the blues in. Oh, golly gosh. Oh. Okay. Excuse that. That was my husband ringing. I shall ring him back later. So I'm going to add this light blue. It's a purpley blue, actually. I'll start with this lighter colour in underneath here. Like that. There we go. And I'm just blocking in. That's more of a purple, but I will adjust it like that. Okay. And I'm also going to add it onto his tail where I can see it. Oops. Come on, go there. There we go. You can see all the different colours. Fill that one in. He sent me a message now, I better check it. Didn't mean to do that. Like that. Okay, and then I'll fill that one in. Whoops. I'll get rid of the underdrawing in a minute too. So I'll just block that in. Just had to check what my husband wanted. It's nothing important, so that's all good. So now I can start to, actually I'll put the brown of the branch in. I'm just going to go around. This looks really weird right now. Oh, gee willikers. Okay, we'll go right around the edge. It will come together, I promise. Promise, promise. All the way up here. Drag that in there. Okay, so I've blocked his basic sort of shape in. Now I'm going to start to go with darkers. I'm going to get my soft brush. Geez, it's hot in here. I'm going to have to turn my air conditioner on. It's a bit of a hot day today. So, okay. So I'm going to start with, where's my recents? Soft airbrush, that's the one I want. And I'm going to start with this darker colour now and work my way up. Anywhere that I see this darker colour is. Like that. He's darker at the top. I can blend that out a little bit. He's got a little bit of dark around the back here. So darken that up. He's got quite a few different blues around his beak. I'm actually going to use some of these other bluey greys that I've got from other palettes. And I'm going to blend that down. Down and around. Let's have a look. I can go a stronger red, this sort of stronger red down here. Might even take that around his eye a little bit. There's so many different reds and greys, it's really quite lovely. This lavendery colour. Go over the top now, leaving so that you can see the blue through it, but it's definitely a lavendery lilac-y colour. And the deeper, darker one under there, like that. Let's make him bigger and have a look. Get a bit closer, like that. Okay. He has quite a lot of different colours, different pinks, different... See what I've done there? I've got... Can I erase that? Let's just erase that. Tidy that up after. Doesn't matter. Add some of these different... Oops. Pinks around the back of his head. Rough up his feathers a little. Oops. So yeah, I took this photo this morning of this little guy. He's in my backyard. I'm just looking, seeing what I can see. I could go a stronger pinky red around here again. Whoops, no, not that one. That one. Greyish purpley colour. Right around the edge of his beak. Darken right up at the front there. I think I need to bring his eye a little bit closer to his beak. But then again, I'll just be patient. Give it a bit more time because I've got to do the outside of his eye as well. which I haven't seen yet, which I will do. And I'm going to go this lighter lilac sort of colour and add these little flecks onto his cheek. He's got all different coloured little feathers around there, like that. Okay. Now I'm going to go onto his beak. I'm going to add, he's got more of a grey mark down there. I'm just looking at the shapes. It's a very blue-grey coming down that part of his beak. It's darker on the top, but that's actually the background colour, so I've got to be a bit careful. I'm going to make that a darker grey, stronger grey shadow tone coming down the outside, like that. And he's got quite a point just there and a different sort of a skin tone, maybe that one. Do that sort of a skin tony end on his beak. I'll blend that out, soften that whole outside line, bring it into his beak a little bit so it doesn't look like a hard line. I'll just do squiggles. There we go. Blend that out like that. Soften all of these internal lines on his beak. Like that, and bring that around the edge like that. There we go. Now I'm going to go back to his eye. Got to do this detail around the outside of his eye. He's got an external line, goes pretty much around his eye. Come around there like that. Go with that stronger dark into the middle there, anywhere that I can see that is. I'm actually going to fill in that bit that I've just done, make the pen a little bit larger, go around the outside of his iris again, like that. There we go. Add a few more little flecks. Got to see his beak. The bottom part of his beak comes down and around like that. I can get rid of that bit and really darken up that shadow in there. Draw his nostril, comes up a bit higher on his face. So I need to lift that up a fraction, like that. And I'll blend that in. So make that a little bit larger, come around the outside of his nostril. Actually, I'll just do the whole nostril, because why not? And I'm going to erase that little bit. Oops. Let's change that line a fraction. I'm happy with that. I've got to bring that angle up there, like that. I'm going to add a little bit of a lighter grey, a lighter blue-grey, back around, because I can see around the edge of the nostril, it's a little bit lighter. I'm just looking at shapes, colours. There's a few little white feathers, or lighter feathers, not white, but they're lighter, around the back of his eye. He's got sort of veins on his beak as well, which I'm going to go back in with this white colour, light colour. Whoops. Go back to that white. Notice he's even got a little bit of red on his beak, which is unusual. It's interesting. Now go back up to the top. I'm going to go and add this light pinky sort of colour on the feathers on his face. So you can see I work my way. I start at the face and I work my way around. I'm just using a soft, like an airy brush type of brush. Got all these different colours of red and pink around his face. It's following the being shorter, always just follow the direction of the feathers. Oh, and I haven't got that blue up high enough, have I? Oh, my husband's home. Okay, so come up and around here. this bluish colour fill in this. Like that. I've got to take it more of that sort of an angle. So I fill all that in. There we go. That's a bit better. It's looking a bit more alike. And actually I can see I've sort of got to adjust the shape of his head a little. All right. Down and around. Start to fill that little bit in. Like that. All right. Now, see, I've got his eye too round. I've actually made his eye too round. So again, I'm going to change the shape of his eye because now I'm looking at it, he's more oval. So I'm just going to erase that, top of his eye. Don't have to get rid of the whole thing. I can just alter the shape because he does have darker feathers around there. Go back into the black and oval his eye off. Like that. Then I'll have to drop his pupil down. Go back in with the red. Going to get rid of that there, like that. I'm having another look. Now I've got to change the bottom of the eye a little bit. Okay, there we go. Pop the pupil back in. Get the big screen, that's looking a bit better. Looking a bit better. Go back in with a stronger purpley red. Because the shadows are on the top of his eye. I'll blend that. Blend it out. Then go back in with the highlight. Whoops-a-days, excuse my little dog. Bear, naughty boy. All right, and I'm also going to add these little dots, because he's got little highlight dots around his eye. Like that. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to go a stronger blue, purpley blue. Around here. There we go. And now I'm going to go a stronger red under his chest, deeper red. And I can start to work my way down and around now. Add a few more little wilder feathers coming up the top here. There we go. Okay, shrink him down a fraction. Start to work down onto the body of the bird. He's got a stronger red all through here. These lighter pinks. Sort of almost a salmony pink, isn't it? Comes down there. Having a quick look. Back down to here. And I'm just going to add in these darker textures. Being careful to follow the shape of the feathers. Like that. And see how they come out of his chest a little bit. They're rough. So I've drawn him with soft lines to begin with, but now I'm going to start to rough him up. Make him look a bit more rugged around the edges. It's darker under here. I'll go in with this colour first and then I'll add the darker colour later. All right, it's easier if I break it into smaller shapes. So now I'm going to go around his back and I'm going to add these deeper, darker blues. Because they start off, they're almost a cobalt blue and they're young, or they start green, like heritage green. Then they go into this blue and red, which is insane. It's amazing how much colours change on them. the moment they're actually, the baby ones are starting to change into their adult feathers. And they've very much got very straggly looking. They've got half green, half red. They're looking a bit blotchy at the minute, the young ones. So I'm just having a quick look. It doesn't have to be exactly like the photo, but close is good. Close would be ideal. Now there's a bigger feather down there. Sort of roughly keeping the shapes. Drawing the lines in. Now you can see it's sort of almost a teardrop shape. I'll just draw the rough outline of them in and then fill them in. I can actually drag and drop in there. Oh, no, that didn't work. And then I'll just soften it up. I'll just blend it. Just made a bit of a mess there. There we go. Shrink him down, make him down a bit smaller. Fill these feathers in. Just getting the basic shapes in, and I will adjust them. See, they go into a half moon sort of a shape. And then they disappear off onto his back. You can see that just the tops of the feathers over there are darker. The teardrop sort of shape. They look quite hard at the second, but they will soften. Actually, no, I'm going to change some of the shapes of some of these. Fill that in. Come down around that one. Fill that one in. Around that one. I will add the feathery texture. I'm just blocking in shapes at the second. Just blocking in the shapes. Okay. And his feathers on his back do come up and disappear off around that side. And they come up into the nape of his neck, like that. And he's got some coming down the front. Now he's got quite a solid block of dark coming up sort of around here. I'll come up and around, fill that in. Is it going to let me drag and drop? Yes, nice. And I can just blend those edges. Now these are his bigger wing feathers. So I'll drag and drop into there, like that. Actually, I can see I need to add the red onto his wing as well. So just around here. So I'm going to go back to my red. I'll go to that red. Come around here. I'm actually a bit closer to that feather there. Because I reckon I need to have the red coming down into there. Like that. Drag and drop. There we go. That's a bit better. I can blend all of those edges. I can just blend in. Blend them together. And that'll just create a little bit more texture anyway, which is fine. Come around the edge of his... Oh. Goodness gracious. Come around here, just blend that out. Thought I had all my alerts turned off. Apparently not. Not to worry. Note to self for next time. Okay. I can go around. Once I've done or marked all these in, I can go around. Actually, I'll use that dark blue. Oops. These feathers come down and around here. Just doing roughly the shape. Just rough. There's a bigger feather there. That sort of half moon shape again. Just look at shapes. I used to be scared of feathers, but now you just think of it as shapes, and that's it. Takes all the stress out of it if you just look at the shapes of the darks and the lights. and then you add them in. He's got a bigger feather here. Comes down a bit lower than that one. Like that, to leave a little gap between. Is it going to let me drag and drop into there? Nope. That's okay. I'll just fill it in. Like that. Okay. That's a bit better. Now I can actually see this other wing over here. It's super dark on the underside. So I'm just going to drag and drop that. Fill that spot in like that. He's already starting to come to life a little. Starting to. We're getting there. Slowly, slowly. Come around here. Drag and drop. Come around there. That feather goes right under there. Add light around the edges in a minute. Drag and drop. Fill that in. Then come down here, take that feather out a little bit more. Drag and drop. Oops. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, just fill it in. Just fill it in, easy peasy. Okay, so I'll just draw that in, fill that feather down to the bottom there. It's got a purpley one there and one that comes up under there. Okay, so I'm quite happy with that, I think. I've got to add one more longer feather there, I think. One more longer feather there. Take that down. Okay, that's okay. Looking okay. So roughly blocked in. Now I'm going to add that lilac-y colour because I've got this too dark. It's going to come down and I'm going to add these feathery textures. Coming down his wing. And he's got longer feathers down here. So I'll mark that one in. Mark that one. And then mark that one. There we go. Okay. It's more of a purpley coloured one down there, so I'll go this stronger purple just here. Again, just looking at the shapes. Nothing set in stone just yet, I can adjust. But I'm just blocking in the shapes. Now I can see I've got this feather too low. So I'm going to go over the top of that with that red. I've got that way too low. Should end the feathers about there. Like that. So I'll just go over that. There we go. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with a stronger red and I'm going to change my brush to twig, which will give me a texture that I can go around now and add the feather lines around these edges so he doesn't look flat. So this twig brush just gives me little lines close together to help create feathery effect. And you can still see the underneath red coming through. So just take that all the way around, just making sure to go the directions that the feathers go. Oh, golly gosh. Thank you for the sub, Trip. Thank you. Thank you, mate. Shout out to Trip. Hang on, I just bloody jump with a fright then. So let's go shout out to Trip. Shout out Trip 228. Thank you, mate. How's your day? What are you up to, doll? Right, come down and around. Again. Oh my goodness, these people don't give up. Down and around, fill in these feathers I'm good. Just made and ate dinner. Oh, nice. Very good. My bloody phone's running hot today. I thought I'd turned off my alerts, but apparently not. All right. Oh, did they leave a message? No, they didn't leave a message. Okay. That's annoying. All right. Okay, so I'll shrink him down, have another look. He's looking all right. We're getting there. We're slowly getting there. Showered, now I've got a pack. Going to visit my nieces. Oh, awesome. Oh, that'll be lovely. That'll be lovely. Very good indeedly. Yes, it's the weekend here as well. Well, we're Friday afternoon at the moment, so it is technically the weekend. Now, I see what I've done here. I've got to do darker purpley feathers in here. I can just leave it with the got to do a darker underneath that one. Leave it with this brush though. That's fine. Now I can see I've got the shape of his bottom wrong. I'm going to erase. Under there and change that shape. I'm actually going to get, now I can get rid of the original drawing so that the underlying drawing can go. Actually, I'll just delete it. It can just go all together. I don't need the line drawing anymore. So I can erase that. So now I've only got my two layers, my background and my bird. The drawing is gone. And I'm going to look down here. He's got some darker purplies under his tum here. So I can start to build up these shadows now. Come a bit, and I've got the shape of these feathers wrong. So I'll just go over the top of them with that shadow tone. Come down onto that wing there. I'm going to fill in that. I'm going to go back to my soft airbrush just for a second, just to fill in this wing, this feather down here. Fill that in. And he's starting to come to life. Now I'll go back to my twiggy brush, which gives me nice, soft, feathery texture. And I can see that wing comes actually up his back a little bit more, like that. There we go. Having a look. Sit back. It's always good to sit back or look at my big screen and I can see the shapes a little bit better. I'm still not happy he's too round. I'm going to erase some more of that. I just had him looking a bit too round, I think. That's a bit better. That's a bit better. Every little bit changes. I'm going to fill in that stick. Oops, that's not the right colour. Oh, it doesn't matter anyway because I'll be going over it with so many different colours. There we go. I'll just come down here, fill in that stick, drag and drop. There we go. Fill that in. Okay. Now, that purpley blue comes up under his tail, is darker. And I've just got to remember to follow the directions of the feathers. I can fill that in there. Come down. Add the lighter purple around that outside edge. Whoops, that's not the lighter purple. That's the lighter purple around the outside edge of the feather on his tail. And again, down that outside edge. It's actually like the bone, what do they call it? Oh, what have I done there? I have got the wrong shape on his back. So go back to my soft airbrush, go back to my red that I used for his base colour, change that shape a fraction, take it down. I missed a bit because I'm a silly duffer. There we go. And then I take that lavendery purpley blue there. I can darken that off. Go super dark up around bottom of that wing. I'll go even darker than that. Take that around the edge. I think I've still got, I've got the airbrush. I want to go my twiggy brush. I want it to be a softer line. He darkens up down at the bottom of his tail. Then he's got darker coming up that side. Then that feather coming down here sort of overlaps. It's darker down at the tip, like that. All right, now I will go back to my simple round. I'll make it really small. Go in with a pale blue. I'm going to try and add this line. Actually, I need it to be brighter than that. I'll go that light blue. Take that line down his tail. Oops, like that. He's got, you can see the feathery line comes down the spine of his tail, the spine of his feathers. Then I can take that down, that tail feather and that tail feather. And I can see in amongst his tail he's actually got, or he's got lots of light down here. So I'll add that light down onto the tip of his tail down there, like that. Down there. Okay. Now I'm going to add some lavendery purpley colours. Again, still using, I'll make my brush a little bit bigger, go over the top with the feather texture down the length of his tail. Like that. I can zoom in a little bit. As you can see, his tail's got, the feathers go away from the white spine and down. There we go. And then I'm going to add some darker, actually I'll go that purple, that one, because I can see along this leading edge, he's got dark there. Hear the magpies out the back, and he's actually got darker. Actually, I'm going to make it almost a black. It's a really deep purple, that. I'm going to have that coming up. As you can see, it comes up that inside underneath, where that's all in shadow on that other feather, that other tail feather. Now, go back to my light. I can start to add in a few of these little wing feather details. You can see there's a little light highlight all the way up the back of this wing there. It actually comes right up his back. All right, he's starting to look okay. How's your day so far? Yeah, it's good. I'm like so fat. Yeah, no, good, mate. I literally have sat out the back most of the morning taking photos of birds. I've been very, very lazy, just photographing birds all morning. So that's where I got this photo from. This is one of these little guys was sitting out the back. So I couldn't help myself. And then I thought Scott was home, but then he's, no, you're right, Dal, it's funny. It's all good. I know what you meant. Know what you meant, Dal. So now I can start to add little flecks of colour through here. So you got any plans with your nieces? What are you going to do when you get there? I'm going to take this up a little bit into these feathers, just to add a little bit of, oh my God, can you hear the dog? The dog is howling at me. Got one dog with me and the other one's down in the kitchen and she doesn't want to be. But if I let her up here, she howls at me. Hang out, spend time and do whatever they want to do. Nice. Yes, I've been taking photos. I bought Cindy's old camera. See, she's bought a new one. And I bought her old camera off her, so I've been taking a ton of photos. And I'm absolutely loving it, really enjoying it. So getting all my own references. I'm going to go to the zoo next week and get some more references for myself. But we've got tons of birds around, so I thought, you know what? I'm just going to stick to my birds and do tons of bird photos. Puppies, I do have lots of puppy photos as well. I do have a beautiful one of Daisy, actually. I might have to do some portraits. Now I'm just looking for the highlights and little flecks of light and anywhere that I can see it. I've got to make some more interest down here on his back. His back and his tummy are looking too flat. So now I'm going to shrink my bird down and I'm going to add some more darker reds. I want my Twiggy brush. I'm going to add some darker sort of gutsier reds down the bottom on his tongue. Whoops. I want some stronger red, burgundy almost. Just down here on his tum-tum. Just down here, because I don't want him to look flat. I've got to draw his little foot in. And he's got all different textures around here. I can see I've got to add a little bit of darker there. A little bit of that lighter sort of salmony colour. Just keep it all varied. I'll learn to speak at some stage. Varied. All the colours varied. Okay, having a look. All right, now I can see his feathers are too smooth, way too smooth. So I'm going to erase up under his tum and make these feathers a bit rougher because I've had my outline drawing a bit too smooth. So I'm just going to ruffle those feathers, ruffle them up, do a little bit up here as well, like that. There we go. And I can add, oops, I'm just checking that. Oh, they're good. Okay, so go back to this sort of skin colour, not skin colour. Well, it is a skin colour, pretty much. But it's for a stick, for his branch, which he doesn't have in the reference, but I'm just going to make one up because I didn't want to draw the fence post. So now I'm going to add, I don't have any brown colours here. I've got my old wood colours down here. So I'm going to go in with, whoops, make that brush a bit bigger, go underneath anywhere that would be in shadow, and I'll take that shadow there. I'll add shadow under there, then I'm just going to blend. Whoops, make that a bit bigger, and then blend. Blend that up. That just softens that, hazes that line nicely. I can take it up in the shape of the wood because our gum trees are quite pale. Now I'm going to use a lighter colour on top, like that, where the sun would be hitting or the light would be hitting. Then I'm going to blend that out, like that. Then I'll go with super darky dark, which is a real chocolatey brown. Make my line thinner. Maybe not that thin, maybe a bit thicker than that. Woo! Maybe not that thick. Okay, a bit thinner. Get a bit scissor happy there. And I'm just going to come up under his tail, anywhere that I can see. And I'm going to blend anywhere that I can think that it would need a shadow. You can see that starts to give it the three-dimensional look. So you start with your light, you go to your mids, and then you add your darkest darks. And I'm just going to soften that outside edge. Okay, having another look. Now I'm going to add a little bit of texture because I can. I'll go back to my Twiggy brush. I'm going to go to a chocolatey brown, and I'm going to add a bit of a bark, sort of a pattern. Just drawing in squiggles, long lines, as if it was just loose bark, like that. My goodness, that doggy is being a little minx. There we go. Now I'm going to blend that a little bit, that top line, I don't like that. I've got to go get that highlight back. Go back onto the top there, like that. I can even add a little bit of white to that, or a bluey white, because it'll be reflecting the sky. Like that. Okay, I'll add some more shadow under his tummy. And I can use this dark purpley shadow colour, because I love purples for a nice cool shadow. Like that. Come down all the way down there. It would be under his tum, and I'll just blend that out because shadows are soft. I can drag it down that tree a little bit. And I'll add just a few glimmers of that tanny colour through it. Go back to my twiggy brush. Like that. Okay. Take this shadow around this side a little bit as well, just a little. And I'll darken up underneath a lot under there, just under this bit. Just in that spot there, because that would be darker, because it's directly underneath the bird. There we go. And I'm going to do the background, and I'm going to add another layer. I'm going to drag it down below layer 2. And I'm going to go in with some greens that I had from the other day. I'll go in with this sort of green. I'm going to get my soft brush, make it big but not opaque. And I'm going to start to add some darker colours, some darker greens. Whoops, maybe not. Oh no, that's all right, that works. And I'll just add soft, sort of hazy, because I've moved that behind the other layer. I can go over the top. I'm just going to add this for the effect of leaves in the background, like that. Take that all the way down bottom here. Because he's up high in the tree, this little boy's, I'm imagining that he's up high in the tree. Like that. I'm going to add some hazy, soft sort of branches off in the background. Like that. So it just gives that distant effect that there would be branches all around him. Like that. So you can only just see those. And then I can go over the top of that again. I'll add a little bit of a darker, make it less opaque, so that they're not just one value. Have a few little darks amongst it. Maybe not that strong, but that's okay. Like that. All right, now, hello Will. Thank you. We're getting there. I'm definitely getting there, mate. Definitely getting there. I'm going to go back in now, and I'm going to add some more greens. How have you been, doll? Over the top. What have I done down there? Oh my goodness. I think I've got a bit of a spush. What's that? Oh, hang on. No, that's not good. Don't want to do that. I've got a little white dot right there. Don't know how I did it, but we'll find it. Can I erase it? Oh, no, don't want to do that. Okay. Am I on the right layer though? Yep, on the right. No? I don't know. Is it on that layer? There we go. That's better. Getting there. All right. Go back to my soft. I'm going to get, yeah, no, I'll stay on that one. Add some more of this green around the bottom. It'd be lighter at the top. Like that. I'll just fiddle around until I get it where I want it. I'll add a little bit of this darker green. Oops. Not that big maybe. So a really soft sort of haze around the edge. And how have you been, Will? What have you been up to, doll? It's darker around this side. I'm going to add, now I'm going to go back, as I do have, if there's a lighting brushes, lights, where is it? Can't remember what it was called now. Luminance. This is beautiful. This, I'm going to add a blue with this luminance. Actually, I'll go back to there and I'll make it bigger. Oops, maybe not that one. Luminance light brush, that's the one. Oops, maybe I will make it bigger. No? Why is that? That is weird. What didn't do that the other day? What am I doing? Oh, light leak, that's the one. I want light leak. And that just pops. So you can see that's got a lavender base to it, so I'll just undo some of that. Go back to my sky blue. Where's the sky blue? That looks like a sky blue. Oh, it's showing through as a purple, but you know what? I don't mind it. Oh, there we go, that's better. Just add a little bit of light. Don't like that. Up around the top. Just by touching that, it just adds little highlights. Motion graphics mostly. I need to get back to game dev, being stressed and lazy, I suppose. You know what? Sometimes you just need a break. Sometimes you just need a break and it's all good. There we go. That just adds a little bit of light back in. Oh, that's too much. Back in through that background, and you can sort of just see it coming through the tops of that tree and behind him. Now I can see that I've got to darken up around the edge of his beak. So I'm going to leave the background alone. I'm just having a look at the tree out the back, and I reckon I'm going to add some more colours along that tree's bark because we've got very reddy brown. Go back to my recents, go back to my twiggy brush, and I'm going to add this colour along this part of the branch. Just add some texture in. Like that. I reckon I can go even darker at the bottom. I've got to be brave. When in doubt, go darker. When in doubt, go flat out. So I'm going to go... Woo! No, I don't want to do that. Gee whiz, that was too much. Add that just up here. I've got to go strong, strong, strong. Under there and directly under his little body. Like that. Don't want it all the way. I just want to have it so it's a little bit of interest. And I'm going to blend that a little. Just blend that a fraction like that. Take it up the branch and that'll blend in with that lighter tone. All right, I'm quite happy with that, I think. Okay, now go back to my bird. Get my recents. That is my recents. I'll go back to my basic brush and I can see I'm not real happy. Oh, I see what I've got to do. I've got to put him, no, that's right. I've got to go back. Leave that there like that. I'm going to erase the tip of his beak. Then I'm going to blend that back into the background a little bit and blend that up. That. Ooh. Okay, having a look. Shrink him down. All right. I need to get a few more. I've made his beak way too big, haven't I? I think I've made his beak too big, but I'm not sure. I think I might have. I've got to change the shape of his beak. So I'm just going to erase the top of his beak. Sort of back to about the shape that I want it. Then I can blend that background up around there a bit. Okay, having a look. That looks a bit better. That looks a little bit better. Go back to my basic, or stay on my basic brush like that. And I'll add a darker grey line. I'll add that greeny grey around the top edge of his beak. like that. That's better. I think that's better. Come up into there, that shadow in. Take shadow around that outside edge. Now I'm having a look to see. I can blend that a fraction. Woo, not that big. Blend that just a little bit around that top edge, the leading edge of his beak. Just a little bitty bit, like that. Now I can see I've got to go a brighter colour in a few different spots. I'm going to add this light blue grey around the back of his eye. Just bear with me a second. I'm just going to go and let that little dog in. I'll be back in a second. She's scratching at the door now, so I better let her in. Come on, Duke, you. Come on, Duke. Up you come then. All right, I've got the Daisy Doo-Doos just come in. You can stay there, Day-Day. Okay. Oh, now she's going to grumble at me. Little terror she is. And I'm just going to come around the edge of the beak. I'm just going to zoom in and have a look. You can see there's a highlight around here. She's got white sort of flecky bits around her eye. Coming back down under her eye here. See a light feathers there. Even though I'm using this, it's a very light lavendery colour. I'm going to get to my twig brush because I need to add, whoops, not that colour. I need to add this reddy area around his face is her face is too flat. So I'm going to go back and add some texture through that. You'll still be able to see it through. Just adding it onto her cheeks. Because I need the feathery lines all the way down like that. That's better. So now when you look, you can see all of these little places around her face and her head. I've got to add that lighter pinky colour around here a bit more. Again, following the direction of the feathers, being aware of where they go. Go up more in an upward motion around here. And a downward motion around there. Okay. Come down here. So now it's just the final flourish of detail. I just don't want any flat bits. I want it to have, what have I done there? There we go, that's better. Looking for highlights. It's lighter around the bottom edge of that feathers, those feathers there. Shrink him down. That's a bit better. Whoops. Undo. Love the undo button. I've got my glove on, but it's not really stopping me from smudging things. All right. Just going to add some softer texture down the bottom of his back at the back. Now I can see it's got more of a light bluey grey. Let's have a look at these feathers here. Whoops, let me zoom. It's got blue around the edges, so I'm going to add a little bit of blue. Just scribbles, doesn't have to be right, just scribbles around the edges of these feathers. That bit down into this one. A bit more of a lavendery colour, isn't it? I need to go the darker purpley blue Maybe that, or maybe not that one. That's, oh, maybe. Hang on, we'll give it a go. Oh, yeah, that works. We'll just do that, following the direction. I'll add a little bit more around in here. Okay. Shrink him down, have another look. Okay, and I can see I've got to add a bit more of this purpley tone down his tail as well. Because the tail's got much more purple in it than I've given it. Like that. Add some texture to these feathers coming down on his wing. Like that. You can't really see texture on this back wing, but I'm going to put it in anyway. And I will go in there with a super duper dark. Super duper duper dark? Super duper 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 dark. And I'm going to add real dark down in underneath there. Like that. Now I'm just going to go along here, add super dark. I might make it a bit thicker. Let's go super dark under there in that shadow. Super dark under there. Super dark under that part of his wing. Having a look, sitting back. So this is where you get your contrast. I've got to take that dark feathers up his nose a little bit. Like that. Around the eye. Add a bit more texture. A few more little scallopy sort of shaped feathers around his back. And I reckon he's looking pretty cool. I reckon we're doing pretty well. I'm going to go over that. Get my basic brush again. Make it really less opaque. I've just got to go back around here. Make it a bit thicker. No, got to go to the background, layer 2. No, it doesn't want to do that, does it? What have I done? It is that one. Oh, I see what I did. I got to go onto that layer. Go over it with that. There. Just make it a bit less opaque. There we go. Have the branches coming up there. That's all right. I'm not 100% happy with the beak. I think I need to smudge the beak a bit. I need to soften this just a little. No, a bit smaller than that. Take it. Oh, that would be because I've. Oh no, I'm on the right layer. We're good. Soften that all the way around that outside edge. Just blend it. There we go. So I need the shadow there, but I just don't need it quite so strong. All right. Let's have a look. Zoom him out. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I might add more of a pale. I can almost add even that one. I'm going to go with the willow charcoal. And add a couple more highlights onto that branch. Actually, I need it less strong than that, so I'll drop the opacity. Still want to see it, just not as vibrantly bright. There we go, like that. That just adds a little bit of the light back. Just add a couple little spots here and there, like that. Just gives it a bit of interest. Righto, I reckon, oh no, I've got to add some more light. I'm going to add, there's no such thing as a stop button when it comes to me. I'm going to go, I'll use this super light, go to my basic brush, make it fully opaque but narrow. I'm on the right layer, yes. Actually, you know what? I'm going to see if I've got a bright white. Where's a bright white? Should have a bright white. Oh, no, that's not a bright white. I need a bright white. Just going through all my old palettes. Oh, there we go. It's a lovely bright white, that one. So now I'm going to go back to my compacts, go all the way back to the top. Go to about there, pop it in there. So then I've got it closer to the top. Oops. Why is it? I've got to make it a bit thicker. Whoop. Oops-a-days. Go back to my basic brush. Add some of these. There we go, that's better. Some bright light. As you can see, he's got having a look at the reference. Whoops-a-days. I can add, go back into his eye. Let's have a look at his eye. Add these flecks around his eye, like that. I'm going to add a deeper purple. Maybe that one, just around this bottom part of his iris. His eye's not one flat colour. Let's look at his beak. His beak does have a little bit of lilac in it. Just a little. So I can add that in there. It's very faint, but just add it in a few of the spots. There we go. Zoom out again. Zoom out again. Let's have a look. So I've got to lighten up the back of his head. And I've got to actually go back to that light. Where'd I stick it? There. There. And I'm going to go down this part of his tail, but I'm not going to make it a solid white line. I'm just going to highlight it a little bit more. Come around that bottom edge of his tail. Same around there. And I've got to bring that light up under there a bit more. I can add some of these little bits. A little bit of white around that outside edge of his feathers on his wing. Same, I can ruffle this up a bit too. I don't want that just to be a flat white line down that back part of that wing. You can see he's got texture going down there. I'll add a little bit of light, a bit more brighter white down the back of his head. Maybe a little bit onto the top of his beak. I'll blend that a fraction. Add a few little flecks, oops, a few little flecks of the bright white into his cheek. And there we have it. I reckon I'm going to call that pretty much done. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just having a quick look at my picture from a distance. I'm just going to add a few more lighter feathery lines down the back of his tail. You can see there I've got to go a bit more purple on this side. That's better. Added a bit bluey over there. Make a great print. Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to do. I will pop him. My Etsy is linked above. He will be for sale after this stream as a downloadable print. So I've been downloading them and sticking them up, hanging them up on my wall. I've got like nice cheap frames, and I've been hanging them up. But they are for sale on my, or he will be for sale on my Etsy page with my other digital artwork, which I just opened like 2 weeks ago. So I'm getting there, Will, slowly but surely. I'm actually doing, I'm doing all the things. So yeah, I set up an Etsy and I'm selling digital prints. So yeah, I sell them for $10 Australian. So which is probably about $4.50 American. And you can print them out on your own photo paper and have your own little one of these. So he'll be up in about half an hour. So I'm just going to sign him. Come down here. Whoops. Oh, that's ugly. Hang on. I was going to undo that. I'm going to go maybe a bit of a thicker brush. Maybe not that thick. Oh my God, got to find the happy balance. Go a bit thinner and less opaque. There we go. And there's my signature down there. So we are done. Thank you so much, everyone, for hanging out. That was a lot of fun. I don't know what I'm going to do tomorrow, but I'll be back tomorrow with, it depends on what photos I get of what birds. So, yeah, thank you for hanging out and watching me do this. But, yeah, he'll be for sale in about half an hour on my Etsy page, which is linked on Twitch, yeah, in my About section, and on YouTube in my About section as well. So thank you so much. Let's see who's on, and we are going to go and raid someone. So for my Twitch buddies, when you finish a stream, you can raid and take everyone with you to the next channel. So I'm just going to see who's on, and we are going to raid. We've got Paintera again, who's working on a skull again, doing a wonderful job. So I would love it if you would all follow me across to Paintera. My pleasure, Trip. Thank you for hanging out, doll. I will see you all over there. So / raid Paintera Studio. It's all one word, isn't it? I'm sure it's all one word. Yeah, it is. Okay, I will see you over there, guys. Have an awesome day, night. I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great one. Thank you again.